Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get ready and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our very first Youth Leadership Advisory Council. So, we are on item number 1, and our first item is call to order and roll call.
Member Boulware is excused. Member McAnallen.
Here.
Member Sy.
Here.
Member Castro.
Here.
Member Johnson.
Here.
Member Burton.
Here.
Member Nguyen.
Here.
Member Cohen.
Here.
Member Gurney.
Here.
Member Kim.
Here.
Member Hall.
Here.
Member Manalez.
Here.
Member Maservi is excused. Member King.
Here.
Member Ruiz.
Here.
Member Camarillo.
Here.
Member Laster.
Here.
Member McCraney.
Here.
And Member Judy Mitchell.
Here.
Ex officio member. Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thanks. Are we in compliance with our open meeting law?
We are in compliance with open meeting law.
Thank you. Item number 3 is public comment. Comments during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed may be limited to 1 minute. Seeing none, we will go ahead and close public comment and move on to item number 4, which is the introduction of advisory council members and city staff. Sheena.
So I will introduce city staff that's in the room since we did roll call. Dr. Tammy Malich, who is the Director of Youth Development and Social Initiatives. We also have Mr. Harry Williams, who is in the Department of Neighborhood Services. We also have Ms. Jillian Block-Slager-Bloom, a city attorney.
And hi, I'm Brian Carroll, your Deputy City Clerk.
And if possible, we can have the students introduce themselves, their school.
I'll go first. I'm Member Hall. I go to Clark High School, and I play basketball. I'm just here to change my community and better my place around my school. I'm just here to inspire and grow. That's me, Corey Hall, Member Hall.
And if the members can please state the ward that they are assigned to as well.
Member Laster, Ward 6. I attend Northeast Korean Technical Academy.
I'm Member McAnallen. I attend Las Vegas Academy of the Arts, and I am the mayor. The mayor's ward? I don't know. Yeah.
I'm a Member Manales. I'm from West Tech, and I'm Ward 4.
I'm Member Gurney. I'm Ward 2, and I'm homeschooled.
I'm Member Burton. I'm a part of Ward 1, and I attend homeschool as well.
I'm Member Castro. I go to Arborview High School, and I'm Ward 6.
I'm Member Sy. I go to the Meadow School, and I'm part of the Mayor's Ward.
I'm Member Eric. I go to Shadow Ridge High School, and I'm part of Ward 6. I'm Member Cohen. I go to the Meadow School, and I'm Ward 2.
I'm Member Ruiz. I go to Veterans Tribute High School, and I'm Ward 5.
I'm Member Johnson. I'm part of Ward 1 and I go to Faith Lutheran High School.
I'm Member King. I'm a part of Ward 4 and I go to West Career and Technical Academy.
I'm Member Camarillo. I go to Northwest Career and Technical Academy and I'm part of Ward 6.
I'm Member Wynn. I go to Clark High School and I'm a member of Ward 2.
I'm Member Gina and I go to Clark High School and I'm part of Ward 3.
Thank you very much. Awesome job. We are now on item number 5, which is a report by Youth Development and Social Initiative Department staff regarding the creation and purpose of the Youth Leadership Advisory Council in Las Vegas Municipal Code 2.70.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Tammy Malich. As mentioned, I'm the Director of Youth Development and Social Initiatives, and I get the honor and pleasure of having the staff member that oversees or is the ex officio for this group. And this has been a long time coming. This is something that we have dreamed about and thought about for a long time. We think it's way more fun and cooler to hang out with young people than it is grown people. Don't tell the folks at City Hall. We think it's a great opportunity. You guys are our future. We're counting on you guys. I think Member Hall mentioned that he's here to create change, and we're counting on you guys to do this better than we have done, to make some remedies for some of the things that we haven't done as well, or maybe we tried to do well, but we messed up. And sometimes as adults, we think we're doing the best for kids, and we forget to reach out and say, hey, were we on point here? Does this make sense? Does it track with you? And so this is your opportunity to have your voice. And so I'm super excited to share with you kind of how we got to this point and the creation, maybe. Technical difficulties. Oh, here we go. So we're going to talk about how this came to be an official, super official meeting and a group of individuals. So we had this idea come forward initially by a council member who has termed out with the city, no longer a council member. And so we took it to a couple of other council members and said, hey, what do you guys think about this idea of us establishing a group of young people who will be our youth advisory committee and can kind of advise us and give us input and guidance on anything that impacts or is related to youth within the city. And at the end of the day, 3 of our councilwomen said, we're in. Councilwoman Alan Polinsky, Ward 4, Councilwoman Bruni from Ward 6, and Councilwoman Diaz from Ward 3 said, we really like this idea, we will move this forward. And so they started the official city process of considering a bill for adoption, which goes through a very lengthy process, actually allows for the community to weigh in, allows for our council people to weigh in, and then once final, becomes a bill. And so that's kind of what brought us to today. The city council unanimously approved this ordinance. Thank you to our city clerk for the lifeline. Unanimously approved this, which then added a couple of chapters into our Las Vegas City Municipal Code, one of which established the Youth Leadership Advisory Council. We refer to it as YLAC for short because many of the people on my team work in the education space and we love acronyms, thus YLAC. And part of that, we worked with the city attorney's office, and Miss Blocksager Bloom was our advisor in the city attorney's office to make sure we got this language just right. And so the idea was that it would consist, or the final is that it will consist only of high school students throughout the city of Las Vegas. And the purpose is to create and foster opportunities for civic engagement and leadership. But more importantly, to engage with our city staff and elected officials from a youth lens or with a youth voice. Also, be able to advise and make recommendations to City Council about anything related to education, youth development, social programs, and initiatives. Now, like many of our bodies or commissions or boards, advising our City Council doesn't necessarily make it happen, right? They ultimately have to be the decision makers, but they take that into consideration. And then finally, our members will have the opportunity to prepare a model resolution and consider, present ideas to our council members to consider for future ordinances. The idea was that it would initially consist of no fewer than 9 voting members and no more than 23. If we are fully appointed council, there will be 23 of you. The members will all be appointed by the mayor and city council, and it will have 1 non-voting staff member. That is Miss Sheena Judy Mitchell, and she will be serving in that role. I will also be attending these meetings because my heart is always happier when I can hear the future and connect with our future. So the mayor has 5 seats on this council, and she has the ability to nominate up to 5 members. Each of our council people can recommend 3 individuals for this council. Each person must either be a resident of or attend a school within the city limits. And the other thing that is key to note here is if you represent a ward, you must live in that ward or attend a school in that ward. If you are the mayor's designee, you simply have to live in the city or attend a school in the city. We intentionally wanted to include young people who attend public school, private school, homeschool, charter school, because we wanted the voice of youth across our community, not just from one segment. And when we talked about our public schools, we really intentionally were looking for youth from our magnet programs as well as our neighborhood and comprehensive schools. Part of the charge of this group would be to annually elect a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and a secretary minimally. And then you all have the decision or the ability or authority to also elect other officers that you deem necessary or appropriate. Officers will serve a length of 1-year term, and YLAC members will select staggered terms. So what does that mean? If you are a junior or a senior, if you are a sophomore through a senior, you will serve a 2-year term on this committee. So this being 1 school year, and then you'll serve another academic year. If you are in grade 10 or 11, if you are in grade 10 or 11 and you are still in high school at the completion of your term, you can be reappointed. If you go on to college throughout the course of your term and you are able to continue to attend, you would be eligible to finish out your 2-year term. If you are a freshman on this committee, your first term will be a 4-year term. The idea behind this was that we wouldn't be replacing the whole committee every 2 years, so that's why we proposed a staggered term. Our intent as we went into this was hoping to find about half of our committee to be 9th grade and the other half to be 10 through 12. That's not a hard, fast rule. That's just kind of one of our goals. After the first group of freshmen go through their 4-year term, then everyone will go to a 2-year term following that. The YLAC Council will adopt bylaws. We've started with a draft between my team and the city attorney's office. You guys ultimately have the final say on that and can make revisions or edits. You also can set norms or any rules that you would like to establish to govern your meetings moving forward. A majority of the appointed members will constitute a forum. So that's why you guys get that email that says confirm with us that you can attend. And then during the course of your time on this council, we will meet no less than 5 times per academic year in person. You will act in an advisory capacity only. And there's an expectation that at the end of the academic year, you will submit an annual report to the City Council highlighting your efforts, results, and future plans for the next year. You cannot have more than 2 absences unexcused during the school year. And so if that happens, the YLAC Council has the ability to remove a member, and then we would go back to the mayor or city council and ask them for a new appointee. Any questions, comments, concerns about that information? Okay, hearing none, thank you. I will send this out to all of you as well so that you have a copy.
Thank you, Dr. Malich. We are now on to item number 6. Item number 6 is discussion of possible action regarding the creation and adoption of Youth Leadership Advisory Council bylaws, which will be gone over by Ms. Sheena.
Pursuant to Las Vegas Municipal Code 2.70.01 through 2.70.070, the City of Las Vegas Youth Leadership Advisory Council, known as YLAC, is established to strengthen youth engagement in municipal governance and public service. The council reflects the city's commitment to cultivating informed, responsible, and active young citizens who contribute to shaping the policies and initiatives that affect their lives and communities. Through structured collaboration with city staff and elected officials, YLAC provides a platform for you to develop leadership skills, deepen civic engagement, and serve as an advisory body on issues important to the next generation of Las Vegas. Within that, we have a draft of set of bylaws, in which I believe you all have a copy of. So Article 1, name and authority. The name of this body shall be the Youth Leadership Advisory Council, or YLAC, established pursuant to the Las Vegas Municipal Code, Chapter 2.70. I just read the article's purpose. Article membership, Section A. In accordance with Chapter 2.70, YLAC shall consist of no fewer than 9 voting members and no more than 23 voting members. Any vacancy must be filled for the remainder of the term. Section B, members must be high school students, public, private, charter, or homeschool, and must be residents of or attend school within the City of Las Vegas. Section C, YLAC shall also include 1 non-voting staff member ex officio designated by the Director of Youth Development and Social Initiatives or their designee. In Section D, members shall be appointed by the Mayor and City Council. The Mayor may appoint up to 5 persons for appointment. Each City Council member may nominate up to 3 persons for appointment. Article 4, attendance. Members are expected to actively participate and attend all scheduled meetings of YLAC. A member who fails to attend 2 or more consecutive meetings without good cause may be subject to removal or replacement at the discretion of the Mayor and City Council. Attendance shall be recorded in the official meetings of each meeting. Members who are unable to attend a meeting must notify the chairperson or the designated city liaison in advance to request an excused absence. Notification should be provided as early as possible, preferably no later than 24 hours prior to the scheduled meeting, unless prevented by an emergency. Excused absences will be noted in the official record and considered when evaluating member participation. Article 5, meetings. Section A, WILEC shall meet no fewer than 5 times per academic year on the third Tuesday of each month. We'll skip to Section C. A majority of voting members shall constitute a quorum. Section D, members shall be meetings shall be conducted in accordance with the Nevada Open Meeting Law and parliamentary procedure. All functions related to WILAC meetings, including the arrangement of meeting sites, compliance with the open meeting law, publishing of agendas, posting of notices, meeting-related mailings, and the keeping and maintaining of meeting minutes and associated records shall be the responsibility of the city clerk's office. Article 6, officers. Section A, WILAC shall by majority vote elect from among its voting members a chairperson and vice chairperson at the first board meeting each year. Section B, officers shall serve one academic term per year, one term per academic year and may be reelected. Section C, the chairperson presides over all the meetings. They set the agendas in consultation with the city liaison and shall perform generally all duties incident to the office and such other duties as may be assigned by the mayor and city council and present WILAC at city functions. Section D, the vice chairperson assists the chairperson and assumes their duties in their absence. The remaining members of the council shall fill a vacancy in the office of vice chairperson. Section E, in the event the chair or vice chair resigns before the end of their term, the board shall elect a new member to fill the vacancy. Article 7, advisory role. The WILAC acts in an advisory capacity only to the city council. WILAC shall have no authority to direct city staff, obligate city resources, or establish policy independent of city council approval. Article 8, reports. WILAC shall submit an annual report to the city council detailing its activities and accomplishments, recommendations, and future goals. Article 9, ex officio liaison. The Director of Youth Development and Social Initiatives or the Director's designee shall serve as ex officio to represent the city's interests, provide guidance and support to WILAC, and serve as liaison between WILAC and the City Council. Section 10, parliamentary authority. The portions of the rules contained in the current edition of Robert's Rule of Order or a modified parliamentary rules for small boards and committees shall govern the council in all cases to which they are applicable and in which they are not inconsistent with these bylaws and any special rules of order WILAC may adopt. Article 11 is adoption and amendments. These bylaws shall be adopted by a majority vote of the entire Youth Leadership Advisory Council. These bylaws may be amended by a majority vote of the entire Youth Leadership Advisory Council, subject to review and approval by the City Council. Amendments to the bylaws must be consistent with the Las Vegas chapter, the municipal chapter 2.70 and the city charter. So
I have. Yep.
Okay, we'll give
I have a question before we put it up for discussion. I have a question for the city attorneys. A couple of questions before they start discussing. On Article 3, Section B, do we need to add must be high school students at the time of appointment? Because I know City Council brought that up. What if they're in the middle of their term and they go to college?
This is Jillian Block-Sagerbloom, Deputy City Attorney for the record. Yes, I think that we should add that.
Okay. And then question 2 is Section B of Article 6 says officers shall serve one academic year term and may be reelected. Is a term then the 2 years?
I believe, this is Jillian Block-Sagerbloom, I believe that the idea behind Section B of Article 6 is to have the elected officers like the chairperson, vice chairperson, and any other officers just serve one academic year within the 2-year term.
Got it. And then this is not a question for a city attorney's office, but something I would propose to the young people, the young adults, to consider as they are discussing. In the officers section, you're required to elect a chair and a vice chair. Article 8 talks about this report, which I went over already, kind of an annual report. I just throw it out to all of you as you're doing your discussion on this, suggesting you may want to consider adding the secretary or at least be mindful that at the end of this, somebody's going to have to pull this information together and create this annual report. So with that, I will turn it over to you all for your discussion.
This is Member Cohen for the record. First off, thank you city staff for helping getting this organized. I think this is a great opportunity for us to sort of represent the ideas of youth in our community, so thank you for helping put this together. Regarding the bylaws, I think we're in a good spot with them, and I think all the concerns you brought up are valid. So I think that, we're in a good spot in terms of actually implementing the bylaws. So that's my perspective on it.
Sorry, Council. I remember when, just a couple things. I know we wanted to have a secretary for our council, is that correct? Right, so, sorry, do you think we could maybe define that in Article 6, like just the roles of secretary perhaps? And then also, given our platform, I feel it would be best if we had maybe just one community outreach, or maybe we can get a little more, depends on what everyone else thinks, per academic year, to get youth input and just raise awareness of council and what we do.
Member Hall, definitely agree with her over there. What's your name again, man?
Member Wynn, sorry about that.
Definitely agree with Member Gwen. Wynn? Yeah, definitely agree with her. I do also believe that we can reach out to the community more with the outreach, like she also said, and agree with the guy who went before her too. What's your name?
Member Cohen.
I also agree with Member Cohen. Very, very relation with that guy, Member Cohen. I applaud you for what you said about the bylaws. That was very important and very nice. Thank you, guy.
Remember when are you speaking of more community outreach, not necessarily another role for community engagement, correct? You're saying
just community outreach.
Okay, and you guys can work that through.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments on the bylaws? I know that we have a couple of amendments that will be added.
This is Member King. I just wanted to add as a comment that I agree we should add a secretary to help handle the entire record and keeping track of when we need to finalize everything and make our report.
My name is Member Burton. I just had a few comments. I agree with all of our previous members talking about a secretary. I do think a secretary would be very beneficial. Along with that, I would like to propose the idea of maybe a comms director. Like Member Wynn was saying, I think using our platform to connect with youth and other young adults is so important, and I do think a member running all of the social medias and putting together things like that would be very beneficial for us. I also do have a question on electing chair and vice chair. For that, it is a majority vote. Are we going to be introducing ourselves and our values and whatnot for everyone to know why we would be a good candidate for the chair?
Yes, we'll be doing that agenda item shortly. Thank you.
Member McAnallen, for the record, I do have one more board position suggestion. What if we do a volunteer chair, similar to community outreach, but we go out and volunteer or get our name out there and known, since this is our kind of inaugural year and trying to get out into the community more. I also do believe the bylaws, we are in a good spot with that. I do also have a question though. So it says that in need of a removal of a member, are we how do I put this? So in the bylaws, there will be like a member put in like the middle of the school year if there is need of a removal. Is that correct?
Tammy Malich, for the record, this is a fluid committee. While ideally we would like all 23 members in place for our first meeting, so we would like that done by August. Currently, we have 3 open seats, and so we are continuing to seek membership for those 3. Once we bring them on, either all at once or 3 independently, we will add them. Their 2-year term, to your question, Member McAnellen, their 2-year term will start from that date and go 2 years forward. So the bulk of you will be kind of 2 years or 4 years starting from the date you were appointed by the city council. But the balance of the members that come on, their 2-year calendar, if you will, or term, will be 2 years from the date they were appointed. If a member is removed, moves out of state, resigns their position, then yes, we would fill that seat mid-year if that occurs.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question. I was just asking when their appointment would start. Thank you.
Member Castro, I think it's a very good idea to do a volunteer opportunity, and then I also like the idea of a communications coordinator because I think it's important for just one person to be focusing on reaching out, social media and all of that comes with it. And then I also think having a secretary is a very good idea just so we have everything for the end of the year.
Member Wynn, for the record, I'm sorry. Just a general question for staff. Is WILAC, or for Article 8, it says WILAC is required to do annual reporting. So does that mean all 23 members will be reporting, or is it just chair and vice chair?
Sheena Judy Mitchell, for the record. It will be you guys collectively as a group, and one person would present, or the vice chair and chair would present to our city council. Are there any other questions as it pertains to the bylaws, suggestions? I'm going to move that we adopt them with the amendments as stated on the record. The primary amendment to add the secretary officially in the bylaws, and to add the statement regarding the age or qualifications for entering being in high school. We will allow you guys to possibly agendize for a future date the discussion of subcommittees, if you will, within your group when it comes to like a comms director and those various things, but not to officially add them into the bylaws per se for those positions and roles. So I think we can take a vote. Can one of you guys make a motion to adopt the bylaws with the changes on the record?
Member Camarillo, I make a motion to accept the bylaws. With the changes.
Member Wynn, I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, awesome job, awesome job, awesome job. Okay, we are going to now go ahead and move on to our discussion for possible action regarding the election of the chair and vice chair. So, Ms. Sheena has passed out a piece of paper to you, 2 of them, one for chair and one for vice chair. And so what we're going to do is we are going to first look at doing the chair. And so first we're going to get ready to do the chair. And what we want to do is those who are interested, we'll go ahead and allow you to.
Thank you. City Clerk's office just made a correction for us. So because you guys are subject to open meeting law, which you're going to learn more about, you guys cannot vote in secret. None of this can be done on a single piece of paper that other people can't see. So instead, we're going to pivot, right? You guys are our first group, so I love that you guys are helping us learn this process with you. So I would propose this. If you are interested in serving in the role as chair of this committee, if you will chime in, state your name for the record, express your interest, and tell a couple of short 30 seconds to a minute about why you think you should be considered, then any other individuals, and then once we have all those individuals that have gone on the record saying they're interested, then we'll do a vote.
Sounds good to me. So what we'll do is go ahead and we'll go ahead and start, or you guys can push your button, introduce yourself, and follow Dr. Malich's instructions. We'll write down everyone's name that has shown interest, and then we'll come back and do a vote. So we'll start with the chair, if you're interested.
Hi, my name is Member Cohen. I'm pleased to be running to be the chair of the inaugural Youth Leadership Advisory Council. So for me, being able to lead this group of peers, we're being given the opportunity to make a positive difference in our community, and it's not an opportunity that a lot of other kids get. We have a unique chance to be able to implement things that we believe are going to make our community better, and in doing so, we need to make sure that we're doing it in the best way possible to benefit our community. I think Las Vegas can be a better place, not only for youth, but because of youth as well, and I think that's where our role comes in. So I would be absolutely honored to lead you guys in making that a future a reality. Thank you. I would be very grateful for your vote.
Hello, I'm Alea Burton. I would be honored if you guys would elect me as chair. My goals with the Youth Advisory Council would be to promote inclusivity, diversity, and mental health matters. I have previous experience within leadership roles, as in being the president of speech and debate and being vice president of the student council for Spring Valley High School. I would be honored if you guys would consider me as an option. I do feel I would do very well leading all of you guys and being a voice for the youth, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you.
Member Wynn, for the record. Hi everyone, I'm Jolie Wynn, and I'd like to, as you know, I'm running for chair. I firmly believe that leadership isn't about titles, but rather being able to take action and making a difference. As a freshman, I started a food distribution program at Clark High School, providing meals to hundreds of students every other week. Since then, I've organized free dental outreaches working with the LVMPD to mentor youth, and I created a tutoring program for students who needed extra support. Additionally, as vice chair of the Nevada Youth Legislature, I've had a little more experience. I've led discussions, organized meetings, and helped present a bill to the state legislature. So basically just experiences that have strengthened my leadership and teamwork skills. So as chair, I would like to make sure that the Youth Leadership Advisory Council isn't just a group that meets once a month, but a team that can actually get things done. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay, well, we figure out something really quick. Is there anyone else? Okay, go ahead.
Member Castro speaking. I would love to be the chair because I feel that I love to make a difference in the community. I love reaching out and helping people. Ever since I was young, I've hosted and held community service projects within the Las Vegas community, with that being a hospice drive for children and even a sock drive for the homeless. I'm currently the student body vice president at Arborview High School. So every day I strive to be inclusive, making sure everybody's voices are heard and everybody's opinions are shared. And I would love to do that on this council on a bigger scale and represent all youth in Las Vegas.
Okay, is there anyone else? Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and close that portion. And what?
Question for the city clerk. Can they vote for more than one person?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
And I've taken the names if you want me to call them out
Sure.
on the vote.
Okay.
So Luann, will you kind of explain to them how they're going to do this?
Absolutely. So my name is Dr. Luann Holmes. I'm the city clerk, and I'm going to be talking to you about the open meeting law. So we kind of put the cart before the horse on this one. But I want to make sure you really understand your responsibilities too. There is a difference between the chair and the vice chair and all the other members. Not in voting, everybody has an equal vote. But the chair is the one that really controls the meeting. So the person you choose, you want to make sure they are even-tempered and that they can facilitate conversations amongst all type of individuals that want to participate, including the public. And then as a part of protocol, which we probably should have given you a little short lesson in Robert's rules, when people address the chair or address the council or address the council, they address it through the chair. And when you want to speak, you have to be recognized by the chair first. And that way you're not all fighting for the mics. The vice chair takes over those responsibilities when the chair is not available, whether that means they need to get up and go to the bathroom or they're not here for a meeting. So that's the difference. So what we're going to do is I'm going to state a name, and our secretary or city clerk, Brian, will ask for a vote, and you'll raise your hand for all those that are voting for that name. And then we will tally up and we'll see if there's one person that has the most votes, they'll get the chair position. Agreed? All right. So the first person I heard, and I'm very sorry, Ethan, I didn't get your last name. Cohen.
Cohen.
Conan.
Cohen. C-O-H-E-N.
Oh, Cohen. Thank you, Ethan. So the first nomination is for Ethan Cohen. All those in favor of Ethan being the chair, please raise your hand. Okay. How about we say, raise your hand and say aye. I got 2, 3, 4, 4, Brian. Your next candidate is, Alea Burton. All right. So all those in favor of Alea Burton being your next chair, please raise your hand and say aye. 2, 3. So I see 3. Do you see 3, Brian? All righty. Your next candidate is Julie Nguyen. All those in favor of Julie Nguyen taking the chair position, please raise your hand and say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. All righty. And the last candidate is Alejandra Castro. Did I mess that name up? What is it?
Iona.
Iona. I'm so sorry. Iona Castro. All those, I can't read. Ayana. All right, Ayana. I'm sorry, Ayana Castro. All those in favor of Ayana Castro serving as chair, please raise your hand and say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 4. All right. So Brian, can you tell us if we have a winner in that race?
Yes, Member Nguyen won with 10 votes to be chair.
All right, congratulations.
Okay, we are going to follow the same process. If Dr. Luann will help us out for vice chair, and you can run for. If you ran for chair and did not win that position, you can also run for vice chair. So we're going to go through the same process as we did before. And then since you explained what the vice chair role is, following the decision on our vice chair and our chair, we're going to kind of move positions a little bit, and then reposition a couple of people based on chair and vice chair. And we'll take if it's okay with the clerks, we want to take like a 2 or 3 minute break so that we can get them up to date, because after that point, I will be stepping out of this role, and the chair and vice chair will then take over the remainder of the meetings from then forward. Okay. So those who want to run for vice chair, just like before, it's opened and the floor is open for your name and why you should be vice chair.
Hi, Member McAllen here. I believe I should be vice chair because I have several experiences with the community, such as being the executive director for the Shiro Team Board, a part of the inaugural cohort for Lead Her, the executive chair for Volunteens, and the lead volunteer for Best Buddies. I believe I could be a helping hand in the community and uplift the chair, Member Wynn. I'm more than able to step up when needed, and I believe I could be of great use to this council. Thank you.
Member Camarillo, my name is Chloe Camarillo. I'm running for vice chair. I would love to be your vice chair. I have had roles in the YNAP board. I have done about 5 YNAP presentations and service projects. I started when I was about 7, and up until the age of 11, I started being, or 11 or 12, I started being on the board. I have had a role of being a class representative for my student council in middle school. I am in the engineering and design program, so I have a lot of quick thinking, intuitive thinking. I'm quick with decisions, and I listen to clear directions very easily. Thank you.
This is Member King. Hi guys, I'm Janiyah King, and basically for achievements, accolades, I am currently serving on the Superintendent's Board, the advisory council for that. I work with the Clark County School District Superintendent on educative policies and stuff like the bus tours or things that directly affect all of us here. I have also taught at my old middle school when it comes to education. I've donated to teachers. I've studied Robert's Rules of Order. And when it comes to advocacy, I am in mock trial. I represented Nevada for the nationals in mock trial. We have done that for 2 years in a row. And other than all of those accolades, I am an advocate. I want to be a public defender, and I want to advocate for everybody on this committee, if you'll trust me to do so. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alea Burton. I would like to run as vice chair. Accolades-wise, I'm very familiar with helping out president and chair within my school. I was vice president for mock trial within my school, so I'm very familiar with helping in that area. I did the exact same for speech and debate and student council. I'm very empathetic, and I would love to be co-chair if you guys would let me.
Okay, anyone else? If I don't hear anyone else, I'll go ahead and...
We have one more.
Okay.
Hello, this is Member Kim. My name is Gina Kim, and I've actually lived in 3 different places. I've lived in Las Vegas, Arizona, and Korea, and I've met multiple different people from different backgrounds, and I've heard all of their stories, and I've realized that some problems are like unseen and unheard, and I want to be the voice that helps to contribute these problems and spread awareness. And for my school, I'm the vice president of Operation Smile at my school, so I have experience overshadowing the president, and I'm also involved in the Southern Nevada Health District Youth Advisory Council, and we help represent people from represented backgrounds and help them get the stuff that they need to be healthy and all. And I believe that if you vote for me as your vice president, I can be a great help in serving this Youth Advisory Council. Thank you.
Awesome job. So I'll go ahead and if no one else, I'll go ahead and give it back to Dr.
All righty, so it looks like we have, oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Luann Holmes for the record. Looks like we have 5 candidates. So we're gonna start off with Kara McAnallen. All those in favor of Kara, please raise your hand and say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Brian? 10? Okay. Thank you.
Hi, this is Member Sai for the record. Just a quick question about the number of votes. Is there a set number of votes we can give for the vice president chair?
Dr. Luann Holmes for the record. That's a really good question. You can't raise both hands, so you can vote for as many people as you want, but you can only vote once per candidate. Does that make sense? Okay. So your second candidate is Chloe Camarillo, sorry. All those in favor of Chloe, please raise your hand and say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 4, Brian. Okay. Your third candidate is Janiyah King. Did I get it right? Yes, Janiyah King. All those in favor of Janiyah, please raise your hand and say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Brian? Okay, raise your hands one more time. Raise them high. 14. 14? Okay. Excellent. Your fourth candidate is Aleha Burton. Did I get it? Alea. Okay, closer than last time. So all those in favor of Alea, please raise your hand and state aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One down here. All right. And rounding us off for our candidates is Jenna Kim. All those in favor of Jenna Kim, please raise your hand and say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.
Senior WC Clerk Brian Carroll for the record. Member King has been elected vice chair.
All right, congratulations.
Okay. Thank you very much. You guys did an awesome job selecting your chair and vice chair. So I think we'll need to take a short recess for what time is it? 2-minute short recess so we can kind of move people around and have a short talk with our chair and our vice chair. So 2-minute recess.
Pick up your nameplate and any belongings. You ever know?
So I call him Mr. Clerk. We're gonna go ahead and move on from recess and move on to agenda item number 8, report by Dr. Luann D. Holmes, City Clerk, regarding an overview of open meeting law.
It turned off. Okay, so this is going to be a test for Jeff. Sorry, Jeff, because I'm not a good sitter-downer when I present. So is it okay? Can everybody hear me if I stand up? Loud enough? Excellent, without feedback. So we are going to talk a little bit about the open meeting law. Dr. Tammy told you that you can create your own rules when you, as you go along, that fit your needs, and that's really true. But this is like the ultimate rule. You have to follow the Nevada open meeting law. So I'm going to cover basically 4 main areas. We're going to talk about what the open meeting law is. We're going to talk about how does it apply. We're going to say what we do from the city's perspective of making it comply. And then we're going to talk about what you need to do to comply to the open meeting law. So this is the open meeting law, and that's the definition that's up in Nevada revised statutes. It's very wordy and, no offense, lawyerese, you know what I'm saying? But in simple terms, really, it's conducting business in an open and transparent manner. Government is for the people, by the people, right? You all heard that in school. And so when you conduct business, we want to make sure it's transparent to people that are on the board. Everybody knows what's going on. It's transparent to the public. It's transparent to city staff, to everybody. Now, when you're looking at the open meeting law, you'll see that statutes say the open meeting law applies to public bodies. So what exactly are public bodies? According to the statutes, it's all public bodies are defined by the state of Nevada. In this case, you are a body that was defined by the city council. They said, we need this youth advisory commission. We're going to talk our council, which we're going to talk a little bit about that. And so you were created, and the open meeting law applies to you. It also applies to a lot of different government bodies, and there are exceptions, and I'm not gonna like really waylay you with them, but believe it or not, you know, sometimes the people that make the rules don't necessarily wanna abide by the rules. The legislature, which is a governing body, doesn't necessarily have to apply by the open meeting law. Oops, let me go back. Can you go back? There we go. Public meetings. Public meetings, what a public meeting is when you have a quorum of your members. And in your case, you right now have 20 members on your board. You are the largest board that we have here at the city. When you get the remaining 3, you will be far beyond any size board that we have. And we will also promise that we will accommodate all of you up on the dais. We're very sorry. Today, we have one of your members who is not less than anybody else, but she has to sit down here because we're a little short on chairs. A public meeting is a quorum, and the best way to define what the quorum is you take the number of members, which you have 20, you divide it in half, and then you add 1, and that's a quorum. So in your case, a quorum is 11 members, and that number is really important. We have to have 11 members here to have a meeting. If you have 9 members here, we can't have a meeting. If you have 11 members, and we're going to talk a little bit about it, all gathered in one location, and you start talking about a meeting, well, we're going to tell you what happens then. But 11 is your quorum, and then what you do is you deliberate and you take action, right? You talk, you discuss, you decide what direction you're going to take, you vote, or maybe you don't vote. But those actions, plus the 11 people all together, that's what makes a public meeting. Your actions can be just simple discussions, but then they also can be sort of summarized and justified by a vote. Now, when does the open meeting law apply? When I said you might have 11 of you together at a football game, let's say. Things that bring you together don't necessarily constitute a public meeting, right? But what you need to be careful about is you don't want to talk business about the board when 11 of you are together at a football game, at a party, at the mall, whatever, because that does constitute a quorum. So you have to be really conscientious of that, right? You all heard the saying, we don't talk about Fight Club when we're in Fight Club. Okay, that's kind of like this. You don't talk about board business unless you're sitting in here in a public meeting. And that's really kind of about the transparency so the public knows what's going on. There are exceptions to that. There are attorney-client privilege. So if you have to have some sort of conversation with your attorney here, that is held confidential, and it's not really, we're not really concerned on whether or not there's a quorum. She may need to, I don't know why, but she may need to brief all of you on something. That doesn't necessarily have to be done in an open public forum. Electronic communication is going to be probably your biggest Achilles heel because that's how we communicate these days, right? We email, we Twitter, we tweet, whatever we do, that's where you need to be really, really careful. You will get your agendas and all your supporting materials. It'll be sent out and broadcasted to all of you, right? And I already told you, more than 11 is a quorum. But one-way communication, like sending information out to you, that's fine. But if you happen to accidentally hit reply all, and maybe you add on something like, you know, I really don't like agenda item number 2. I'm not voting for it. Oh, okay, now we violate the open meeting law because you created what's called a serial quorum, which means your understanding of how you're going to vote, like went to all of you, it could influence all of your votes, right? So you got to be really careful with electronic mail and not necessarily Instagram, but any type of electronic communication, you have to be very careful that you don't create a quorum by responding back and forth about things. And then a serial communication, it's also called a walking quorum, and that's exactly what I said. If, let's say there was a group of you and you were all in one location, you were all at a football game or you were all at the mall, and a few of you got together and you were talking about an item, you're like, hey, I really like this initiative that Vice Chair came up with, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna support it at the next meeting. And then one of you happens to walk down to the food court and hey, there's like 4 more different people from your board over there. And so you get over there and you said, you know, I was just talking to the rest of the group and we all agree that item 2 is just, you know, crazy, and so we're totally supporting that item. And then those 4, you're starting to create a serial communication. You see what I'm saying? It's like playing telephone tag. So if somebody from that group leaves and talks to another group and talks about, hey, a lot of people right now are really for item whatever, 2 or 4 I said, that's where you're creating a serial communication. And that is against the open meeting law. That is what you can't do. You already learned, too, that you can't take a secret vote, right? We talked about everything has to be open and transparent. So even if you have something you need to decide on up here, I'll call you in a second. Even though you have something to decide on, you have to do it on the mic. You have to do it where the public can see what you're doing. You can't take a balloted vote. You know, you can't be like, everybody mark down what you think, and then we'll all pass it and count. That's not transparent and open. You, go ahead. Yes, please.
I just had a question. Is it going against any laws to have like a group chat between all of us for like team bonding or planning team exercises or anything to get to know each other more?
No, but I'll tell you that you're treading on thin water. So no, it's not against the law. But you have to be really careful about what you talk about. It can't be anything having to do with board business. If you want to talk about what schools you go to, what your interests are, that's great. But it can't be anything having to do with board business. And so normally we encourage boards that ask that very same question. We say, it's better to lean on the side of caution and not do it. But in your case, I can see that's how your generation communicates. It's electronic, right? So just as long as you're aware, you have to be really careful. You're creating records, which is a whole nother conversation that I'll have our enterprise records officer one day come up and tell you about. But you have to be really careful in those group conversations. I encourage for all of you, I'm just kind of curious, how many people have actually been on a formal board like this before? Can you raise your hand? Ooh, not many. Okay, so maybe at the next meeting, I talk a little bit about what Robert's rules are and how they apply, because that's really how you conduct yourself in a meeting. Like we talked about with the chair and the vice chair, but I will tell you this just to kind of start you off. Whenever you want to speak, you need to get the attention of the chair, and they have to recognize you. So how you would do that now is you're just going to lean forward and kind of do one of these, and she'll see you, and her vice chair is helping out. They'll pay attention, and they'll say, member so-and-so. They won't know your last name right now, I promise you, but they'll learn it. And once they recognize you, then you can speak on the mic. And that's the way you guys are going to be able to keep control. Otherwise, you'll go crazy with trying to figure out whose turn's next and that sort of thing. But that's part of Robert's rules. All right, so how do we as a city comply? You should have all been mailed the agenda, which hopefully you have in front of you. One of the things that we will promise you from the clerk's office is that for all meetings going forward, at least for the first year, so you can get used to this, we will bring an agenda and make sure that there are plenty of agendas here. We also have to make them available to the public as well, so we'll have a stack here. But you'll know that on the agenda, it's very regulated on what's on there. We can't just put anything. We have to be sure we tell the public when the meeting is, what time is the meeting, where the location is, right? The location, as you can see, this is a great room. It's very accessible. We have to make sure it's accessible to everybody. And you as a board, that means when we ask for public comment and citizen participation, which you'll see on your agenda, everybody is allowed to also participate. And this is local government, right? And they're allowed to participate. So you'll see the city of Las Vegas is, well, we're the largest city, actually, largest municipality in the state of Nevada. And you'll see you'll get all kinds of people that will actually want to be involved and come to your meetings. So we have very specific information on our agenda. We tell people where they can come. There has to be a physical location. We can't hold an all virtual meeting because you have to make it fair to the public as well, right? You all might have easy access to a cell phone, a laptop, a computer, but not necessarily the public. So one of the choices that the city has consciously made is that we won't necessarily do all of our business electronic because we know there's part of our population that it isn't afforded that. You need to have clear and complete statements on your agendas, which means I should be able to pick up the agenda, anybody should be able to pick up the agenda and figure out what you guys are talking about. So you'll see that when we write the agenda, it'll tell you what we're going to be talking about. Go ahead.
Member Hall, just a quick question. Will we be receiving the agendas before the meetings, or would it be a mandated script for us to be able to have to write, or we just come on the board and discuss?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So you will be receiving these in email. And so another part of the open meeting law says that you have to give notice to everybody that you're about to have a board meeting. Not just you, but all the people so they can participate. So the law has a very stringent, and let's see if I actually wrote it in here for 3 working days. I might not have. It's on the last slide? Oh, it was on the last one we were on. Okay, I'm sorry. It says 3 working days. Okay, so the law says that we have to post the agenda 3 full working days before the meeting. And what we make available to you, we have to make available to everybody, and vice versa. So that means we can't give it to the public and not have already told you, and we can't give it to you and hold it off and not give it to the public. So our practice has been historically for many years. I've been here for 17 years, and I know that it started well before I came, that we post our agendas and make it available a good 99% of the time. It's a week before your meeting. You'll get that information. So you'll have plenty of time to review it, along with the agenda. If there's any supporting backup, that means papers that need to be handed out, like the bylaws. Those will be attached electronically. And we can send out, I think, don't we have in some instruction manual, we talk about where to get the agendas online? Is that in our board book? Okay, so all of you, did you all get a board book? It's like an onboarding book. Welcome to being on the board book. No? Oh, I'm so bummed out. Okay. Yes! Thank you.
It was mailed to your house.
Ah, yes, sorry. Thank you. Thank you for having it. So in there, we talk about how you're going to get information, like you'll get emailed. Yes, thank you. That's it. That's your board book. And it talks about, there's rules in there. It talks about what a quorum is. It talks about what's on our agendas, the format it has to follow. It talks about when we email things out. But most importantly, it has a website that I'm sure it's repeated multiple times in there. Up on our website, when we post the agenda, when we mail it to you and we tell everybody about it, it's on our website. And you can click on it electronically, and it'll pull up the agenda, and you can print it out. And we have features in that software where you can actually print out just one item with all of its backup. Like, let's say the bylaws. Maybe the bylaws, perhaps they were lengthy. They're 27 pages. You'd be able to print out just that agenda item in 27 pages. Or you can print out the whole bloody thing if you wanted to and cart it in. So yes, you will have plenty of notice to get the agenda. We'll make sure it's out there. And that's part of the open meeting law. We have a duty to do that. Let's see, so some additional requirements of the open meeting law. We already talked about, we want to be accessible and we accommodate everybody that wants to come in here. It doesn't matter what we need to do. We have ADA compliance. We will move chairs around, whatever it takes. And that includes for board members as well. There is the second bullet on there, it talks about a requirement to consider a person's character. That won't happen on this board. That's usually for the big boards like city council or, I don't know, city council. I'll just stick with city council, maybe planning commission, but not necessarily for you. And that's like somebody who's really just lost their mind and maybe they shouldn't be on the board anymore. They have to have a public meeting to consider their conduct. Remember, we do all business transparently and in the open. So could it be embarrassing? Yeah, but we let everybody know. That's how we do business. Meetings are recorded and transcribed. So you guys had a great idea earlier. You said, we need a secretary of the board. Anybody want to tell me what that secretary might be doing? I heard keeping the record, right? Keeping track of everything you talk about.
Taking down notes.
Taking down notes. So you don't have to take down notes because you should come here prepared to interact, just like you said. I don't expect you to drag in a bunch of papers and take notes. What else could they do? Go ahead.
Member Gurney here. They could remind everybody about what the agenda is for, so that way it's not up to just one person. Everybody could know what's going on, so they could help remind people what the agenda is for.
Absolutely, that's excellent. That's exactly right. And they can remind you of what you guys talked about the last meeting, or the meeting before the last meeting, or maybe the original meeting. Maybe there was something you talked about and you thought, it's now applicable 5 meetings down the road and you can't remember. So I will tell you, every board and commission for the city of Las Vegas, and there are 42 different boards and commissions, are supported by the city clerk's office. And so part of what we do, our job is we have many hats, but one of our hats is being the record keeper of the city, which is what Brian's over here doing. He's over here, hear that? He's over here taking minutes for you. He's taking notes. What we take is called summary minutes. Summary minutes means we're gonna get the general idea of what was said and who said it, and we will tell you exactly how you voted. If you want the detail though, the other part of the record that we keep is audio. So as you can see down here in the little pictures, I try to depict it, your mics are all part of that record. That's why it's really important that you turn them on and you identify yourself. Think of it this way. 20 years down the line, somebody's doing research for a high school paper and they said, what was that YLAC board all about, right? They can't see you. If you close your eyes, could you hear an audio recording of this meeting and understand what happened? Yeah, and that's because we make sure before everybody speaks, you identify your name, who you are, right? That's part of that audio record. So according to the open meeting law, the requirement is we have to have both an audio record and a written record. That's the minutes, and that's what the secretary of the board does. But if you have other responsibilities for a secretary, I say go for it. I just want you to know, though, we will be providing minutes for you. And they will be up on that same website. And so by the time you get to the next meeting, you'll be approving the minutes of this meeting, but they will be up there for you to refresh and look at and figure out, what did we talk about? What did we agree to? We already talked about supporting materials. Let's talk about an emergency meeting. Dr. Malich will tell you that many city staff think that they have an emergency and that we should have a meeting, but there truly is a very tight definition of emergency. And I will tell you, we plan really well here at the city, and we will make sure that you never have an emergency when it comes to a meeting. But emergency meetings are held. They have very different requirements, like maybe we don't post it out to the public 7 days ahead. Maybe we don't have an agenda. Maybe the emergency is, I don't know, a wildfire that swept through, like that happened in our neighboring states. And the governing body has to call an emergency meeting to make some tough decisions. That's when we have emergency meetings. Not necessarily because like, oh, you have something really important you forgot to tell them 2 months ago when your last meeting was. Oh, I do want to say one more thing about electronic record. So down there in the bottom, that picture says document management. So I told you the secretary of the board is Brian, and we actually have 5 deputies that work in our office, so you'll get to meet all of them. Gabby was here earlier. She was the one welcoming you guys in. But a lot of our records, the majority of our records, we're trying to push to an electronic environment. So do we have paper records that people can come and thumb through? Yes, but we've also done a lot of work, thanks to our enterprise records officer in that division, on making sure our records are electronic, so they're easily accessible by everybody, right? But if somebody didn't have the electronics to do it, and they called us up and they said, hey, I really need to know what happened at that meeting, we could get it to them. We can get it to them in paper, we can, whatever it takes. Now, what's a public comment? The Nevada Open Meeting Law says that on your agenda, you have to have 2 dedicated periods for the public to be able to speak. And you'll see if you're looking at your agenda, we put the 2 periods on the agenda. The first one is called public comment. And there's sort of a criteria around that period. Those items really should pertain, those comments should pertain to an item that's on the agenda. It should be specific, right? But at the end of the agenda, we have citizen participation. And that's just like an open forum. We welcome anybody to come and talk and say whatever they want. There is no bleep key, so we hope that everybody uses, good language. But they're able to come down, they're able to talk on anything. And if you ever get to come to a council meeting, which I always encourage you guys to come down and see our council meetings, we also give the authority to the chair, who in the meeting, in the case of the city council, is the mayor, to control that. So there are people that if you gave them, an inch, they would take a mile. They would stand up there and talk forever. So we do have, a short time frame. I don't think you're necessarily going to have this problem on this board, so you're in pretty good shape. The restrictions, you can put restrictions on public comment, and the things that I just told you, the first public comment, we can say, you need to be talking about something that's on the agenda. And that's just so that helps us facilitate the meeting and make sure it continues on at a normal pace. We can also put a time. It can't be, people can't just come down and talk anytime they want, and you're all fortunate that you're in high school, because I don't think anybody's going to come hunt you down on in your school to talk to you about something. They'll come here to talk to you. What the open meeting law does not allow, if somebody needs to be removed from a meeting because they have been disruptive, we can do that. And we do have security in this building. One of the controls that your secretary can also do is if we had to alert, they would be able to get our marshals up here if you had any problem. But we don't really foresee that happening. So how do you, as a board, how do you guys comply? Like I said, the public must be able to hear, observe at the same level as the council. And so that means that we don't want people talking secretly. We don't want you to turn off your mic and then, gather in a corner and have a conversation. It really needs to be very open and transparent. You have to allow the public to participate. On this board, that may be all gravy. Sometimes in city council, there are times where maybe I personally would like this to not allow everybody, but you do. This is a public board. All your actions have to occur in a meeting, and it has to be accessible to the public. That's why we didn't do that voting on the paper earlier, no secret voting. And what we ask is that you show up and participate. That's really important. Some of you really hit the nail on the head. It is a big honor for the council and the mayor to appoint you to this position. It's an important board. It's the first of its kind for the city of Las Vegas. And so one of the things that I thought was really kind of cool about it was when this got approved by the council, that's what the tagline in the newspaper said. It said, Las Vegas City Council establishes Youth Leadership Advisory Council to empower local youth. And I was super jazzed to hear. You guys talked about that. When you were introducing yourself, there were so many of you that said, I want to make change. I want to empower. I want to advocate. That's what we're asking you to do. That's really what your job is. So, are there any questions for me? I smooshed a lot of stuff together. No?
I have a question. Dr. Tammy Malich for the record. Dr. Holmes, how, under what conditions is the staff member assigned to the group allowed to communicate with them in a group text?
Sure. So, Dr. Luann Holmes, for the record, that's a really good question. So I told you, you'd be receiving information from the city. Your staff ex aficionado, is that what the title is? Your staff ex aficionado will be sending you information, and they can communicate to you. And what you'll find, you might be on an email that it looks like it's just you and him or her. Is it him? Is it Harry? It's her. It might be just you and her, and you think, oh, she's only talking to me. No, we're really careful about not creating that serial communication, right? So she might blind copy everybody else, or she might put it in a group so that you can't turn around and blind copy, or you can't reply to all. But you will get a lot of information from it, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay. And it's okay for you to communicate back to that person. What we're asking is that you don't deliberate or talk about, like you're deliberating towards an action, a board item amongst 11 of you. Because remember, that's the quorum for now. After the next election, you're going to have possibly 23 in the board. Did I answer your question? All right, anybody else?
Thanks.
No, I promise you, your next meeting, we will have all the chairs you need up there. And of course, if you need anything in supporting this meeting, you're also welcome to call the city clerk's office. We're in those handy dandy books y'all got.
Thank you, Dr. Luann, for that very informational report. At this time, we're going to move on to agenda item number 9, report by Dr. Tammy Malich. Malich, sorry.
That's okay.
For Youth Development and Social Initiatives Director regarding the National Youth Leadership Council's Youth as Solutions Program.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Tammy Malich for the record. So a couple of our council members and at least one committee member shared an opportunity with me, and so I wanted to share with all of you. To date, little background information, to date, no, let me go back. For the 2024-25 school year, across the area that encompasses Clark County and the Clark County School District, so that does include Henderson, Mesquite, Moapa Valley, not just City of Las Vegas, there were 120 youth injuries or fatalities combined for the entire school year around either pedestrian incidents, bicycle or scooter incidents, or driving incidents that involved youth just going to and from school. That doesn't count weekend or evenings or summer. So 120, think about that for a school year. Tragic, terrible. This school year, you guys, school started for most of you on August 10th, 11th, somewhere around there. So by October 9th, 2 months into the school year exactly, there were 109 youth serious injuries or fatalities within those same categories: pedestrian, driving, teen drivers, or bicycle, scooter, e-bike, etc. So the item that I put on the agenda offers a Youth as Solutions grant opportunity. It's very little funding. It's really more about youth taking a leadership role in their community to go through kind of a SWOT analysis, so investigating, looking to determine if there's a problem, doing some inquiry, looking to do a root cause analysis, and then coming up with a youth action, youth-led outreach or final plan in an attempt to help change or remedy. Many of you, as Dr. Holmes mentioned, addressed wanting to create change. So I did receive the award. It is not an adult project, although there has to be an adult advisor, so I submitted it. But minimally, in order to participate in this, we would need 3 additional youth, in addition to the 1 youth member that already submitted before this youth council became formal. I would need 3 additional youth that would commit to being youth leaders and attending meetings and setting goals. And then as many of you that wanted to participate in the actual plan could, but 3 of you and 1 additional would be required to attend these monthly meetings. The goal of this initiative is to raise community awareness about youth and teen safety, to include teen driver safety, youth, teen, pedestrian safety, and bicycle, scooter, manual or electric safety. We've experienced several critical accidents involving youth in our community, resulting in significant injuries and the loss of lives. We will work with the City of Las Vegas Department of Public Safety, local law enforcement, the Metropolitan Police Department is on board, and the Department of Public Works and the Clark County School District with the intention of creating PSAs, printed materials, social media, and host community meetings to increase awareness among our youth and community members at large to eliminate risk. So, if any of you are interested in getting involved in this for the youth leadership part, of which we would need, I would need 3 of you, then more to come about perhaps this being considered as a subcommittee item, if it's something that you guys are interested in addressing as a collective. I know your vice chair serves on the superintendent's youth committee. It is a pressing issue for the Clark County School District right now, but it doesn't just impact the Clark County School District. It is impacting youth in our community going to and from school. And it is tragic. In my former life, I was a middle school principal and then a high school principal. And as a middle school principal, I lost one of my students to an incident where he jumped a wall and ran across the street, was hit by a car. And so as a mom and grandma as well, it is something that is heartbreaking to me. So if any of you are interested in exploring this, please weigh in and let me know. And then we will not have a quorum because I will be reaching out to 3 of you to talk further about how we might engage in this work. And then if those 3 are interested, they'll bring it back to your chair or vice chair and get it agendized to look at potentially subcommittees or how more of you might get involved in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tammy Malich? Okay, Malich, I'm so sorry. We're gonna move on to agenda item number 10, discussion regarding topics for future agenda items.
Chair, I think you had a couple of people down there that had some
Oh,
comments.
I'm so sorry, I didn't even realize. For this one down?
Member McAnallen, for the record, I would love to serve on that. One of my dear friends, unfortunately, had an incident like that at her high school, so I would love to step up and do that. Thank you for the opportunity that you're giving us. Thank you.
Member Hall, just a couple questions about the opportunity that you're bringing out for us. So are we making a solution to it, or are we just drawing attention to the problem?
You are ultimately, Dr. Tammy Malich, for the record, Member Hall, you are ultimately coming up with a solution of which that could be raising awareness, but there could be additional, you guys could come up with additional ways to maybe lobby the legislature in a special session to create stricter laws around those that are involved in accidents involving youth in school zones, or there could be a variety of ways that that you might be taking this on. Those that are involved, that are interested.
Thank you. I'll also be wanting to join to be a leader to help that initiative. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Member Burton, for record. I would also like a member, a leadership position for that as well to solve for a resolution. How would we go about reaching out to achieve that?
So I recorded Member Hall, Member McAnallen, and Member Burton. And then Member Bulware is the one that actually co-submitted this with me. So I will reach out to the 4 of you with additional information, and then you guys can, one or all of you can bring it back to the larger group to see how the larger group could get involved. But the meetings online with the national organization are only open to 4 members. And then the intent is that the 4 would bring it back to any larger group to actually then kind of do the investigation, figure out what are some of the problems and how to solve them, and then actually set forth the action. So, thank you.
I believe Member Cohen had something to add.
Yeah, Member Cohen, for the record. Dr. Malich, I came in towards the end, but I pieced together enough to gain sort of an interest in what you were talking about. So I'd definitely love to be involved with that as well.
Thank you.
Oh, all the way down there, go ahead.
Member Sai, for the record, sorry, I didn't realize there were only 4 spots, but I would also love to join Member McNallen and Member Burton in this committee about creating the solution for this issue that you brought up, Ms. Malik. And I did hear about this from Ward 2 Breakfast, and I heard about how a lot of youth have been involved in these incidents, and I would love to be part of this committee that will make a difference in solving these issues. Thank you.
For the record, Member Manala speaking. I would also like to be a part of this, organization.
Member Nguyen, for the record, a question for Dr. Malich. I see we have a lot of interest for this program. How are we going to select the nominees for this program?
So thank you for that, Member Nguyen. But before I answer your question, the last member that said she wanted to be involved, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Anara Manolas.
Got it. Thank you. So I have to designate 4 youth members who will attend the online meetings, but I am able to designate some alternates. So at this point, I have members Hall, McAnellen, Burton, Bulware, Cohen, Sy, and Manelas. That's 7, so I don't want to approach a quorum on this because we just heard that could be very bad and Dr. Holmes will not be happy with us. So I'm going to close additional interest in the leadership portion of this for now. I will take all 7 of those names and move forward and reach out to those 7 individuals. And then again, all of you will have the opportunity to get involved as far as the grassroots and action-oriented part of this. And I really think it's a great idea for even your vice chair can then communicate, although this is not required of her, it's something that she could then bring back to her superintendent's youth advisory council. And as well, any of you that are on other councils could bring that back to those councils or boards as to kind of what we're trying to do and the plan. And if I could take the liberty at this point to also mention the chair and vice chair roles, very important to leading this board and kind of running the meetings for this board. But I would also share with those of you very impressed with your self-nominations for chair and vice chair. All of you did such an outstanding job. I sit here feeling like the world is going to be such a better place when you guys are running it. I am really feeling inspired by all of you. And so I would just offer to all of you that those of you who represent the mayor's office, as well as all of you that represent a ward, I will be working with our ward offices to see how we can get the small groups of you engaged back with your ward and or the mayor's office to apprise them, update them. So there are going to be other opportunities for all of you to take on a kind of a leadership role in this, in addition to the roles of chair and vice chair. So I just want to make sure that you all know there are going to be other opportunities for you to engage with your elected officials so that they know what great recommendations they made and how phenomenal. And I would like to point out that Ward 4 actually has a staff member in the house. Miss Brenda is here representing Ward 4, and so I really appreciate that she was able to join to see her staff members. I know Ward 1 met with his leadership advisory members last week or the week before. I stopped in to chat with them. So we will be doing those kinds of activities as well. So sorry to add that additional information, but I just wanted to give you all accolades and tell you how impressed I already am with you. It's meeting 1. You guys have set the bar very high for meeting 1 with an inaugural group. I don't know what you guys are going to do for meeting 2 because you guys have already knocked it out of the park.
Thank you, Dr. Malich, for giving us an amazing opportunity. We're going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 10, discussion regarding topics for future agenda items. Comments made during this portion of the agenda by individual members shall refer solely to proposals for future agenda items, and any discussion shall be limited to whether or not such proposed items are within the purview of the advisory council and or whether such proposed items shall be placed on a future agenda. No discussion regarding the substance of any such proposed topic shall occur, and no action shall be taken. Go ahead.
Member McNallen, for the record, I believe we should discuss next time different committees that we would like to be a part of the board, and also different other positions that we can come up with. Thank you.
Oh, Member Hall down there.
Member Hall, for the record, one thing that I feel like that we should discuss or touch on a little bit is problems in our ward or problems as a whole in our community that we can change. Like Dr. Mallett pointed out, the problem with basically kids getting transportation from school. I feel like violence and all other things we should be able to top on a little bit more during our next meeting. Thank you.
Member Cohen.
Member Cohen, for the record. I think something beneficial for next meeting would be talking about how we can kind of market ourselves and YLAC. I think we have such a, we're here on this platform to share the voices of the youth in our community. So I think we need to figure out sort of a marketing plan of how we can amplify our voices as well, whether that be through social media or email newsletters or something in that sort. But I think we could definitely sort of amplify the message that YLAC seeks to bring to the community and use that to make an even bigger difference.
Member Castro speaking. I also agree with that. I was wondering if we could next meeting talk about the social media platforms that we can have and what we want to have as well.
Member Burton speaking for the record. I do have a few comments. I agree that we definitely should talk about sub positions and along with that, how we can present ourselves. Future speaking, maybe like food drives, just things we can do within our community that definitely target youth. So you know how every year they do school supplies drives, all of those. If we can do something for the community, especially youth, to get together, I think it would be a good idea for marketing ourselves. And then having other sub people to run it and have leadership positions in that.
Member Sai, I believe you had something to add. Oh, no? Okay, sorry. Did anyone else have you done it?
For the record, Member Manola speaking. I feel like next meeting we should discuss and finalize positions and then vote on those positions.
Does any other member have anything to add? No? Okay. Okay then.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Dr. Malich, for the record, I have a question for the clerk's office. Can they agendize something as vague as discuss and appoint or elect additional officers as necessary, or would they have to identify those exact positions?
Senior Deputy City Clerk Brian Kell, for the record. It has to be definitely not vague. You want it to be as clear as possible. It may make more sense to not necessarily establish the positions, but instead to discuss which positions you want to add potentially to your bylaws, and then at a future meeting actually elect or create those positions, and then followed by electing those positions. So it's as clear as possible what we're doing for the public.
Thank you. So, Dr. Malich, for the record, so as items are added to an agenda, there are some that are discussion, some that are report, and some that are action. And so you could have a discussion, as he mentioned, to kind of define or detail out what additional positions, and then at another future meeting, you would have an action item once you made that decision. So just kind of keeping that in mind as you move forward.
Thank you, Dr. Malich. I had a question. So we do want a secretary, right? So do we definitively know if we're going to hold an election for a secretary's next meeting?
If I could be clear for the record, again, Senior Deputy Clerk Brian Carroll, this agenda item is to discuss what should be on the next meeting. We can't have too much back and forth about a particular item because we have not agendized that we're going to be discussing a secretary for the public. So now that we're going deeper and deeper into that conversation, it wasn't agendized as such, and we really shouldn't in order to stay compliant with open meeting law.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. So does anyone else have anything else to add before we move on? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to go ahead and move on to agenda item number 11, citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Advisory Council. No subject may be acted upon by the Advisory Council unless the subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Oh, do it at the back too. None? Okay, perfect. Seeing none, I think we can move on to agenda item number 12, adjournment. Facilities are provided throughout City Hall for the convenience of persons with disabilities. Reasonable efforts will be made. Oh no, we don't need to say all that? Okay, perfect. So we're done. Thank you, guys.